Not that I'm aware of.
On page 228, you say they...
Excuse me, Mike, your department doesn't check buildings like the high school at night and stuff like that, do they?
Yes, we do. We continually patrol and prowl those areas. The question you have here is the closer supervision would like of those buildings. Those buildings are attractive nuisances, and they don't have the necessary security features that they should have on them. The plywood that they have that's screwed to them are basic security functions. They don't have any cameras inside. They don't have any alarm systems inside. They have really nothing. Businesses have all of those things and more, which help us really secure those buildings. These buildings are very much attractive businesses, and they need close security, probably security that we can't give them on a routine basis.
Follow up on that?
Security is on page 230 attached, and that relates to the Fairfield Hills budget.
Now, that's the entire facility, not just the new town hall.
Right, because there's very little in the new town hall budget, it's 5,000, and there's really no security in the new municipal building budget. It's in Fairfield Hills.
And this proposed budget, which is part of Fairfield Hills, without me going back and looking at last year's, which I'll be glad to do, do you know whether we had been paying for that last year? Or did that come out of the Fairfield Hills money itself?
No, it was budgeted in the Fairfield Hills budget. This year it's 156,000 budgeted, and they budgeted 110,000 for next fiscal year, and their comments are based on reduced security staffing.
Okay, so this is not a new item. This is something that we had budgeted
it's
for
been
in the
ongoing
operations of
since-
Fairfield Hills last
yeah.
year as well.
Yes.
That's,
It used to be substantial.
yeah.
Any other questions? I have a generic question for you, Joe, insofar as how you approach the budget and just in general. And it gets back to this whole issue of overhead and salaries and whatnot. Can you, just for clarification and education, and for the public, describe in general what types of increases the town departments are seeing in salary?
I told
requesting?
them quite a while ago, when things started to go down the tubes, I said I would not accept anything over and above a 3% increase. Now, there was a little ambiguity there, because the highway department came forward and said that they, because of the economic turndown, then they were subject to negotiations this year, contract negotiations this year, that they would, accept a one-year extension of their contract at the present setup, which meant that they would get a 3.5% increase next year. But other than that, all the other departments, in fact, the town hall employees came and said, why can't we get the same extension that you gave to the highway department? And they, we're all women and they're all men, and but we told them that we weren't going to go down that road. So we instructed them to start their union approaching for contract negotiations,
How many unions does the town have, Joe?
including Board of Ed.
No,
Oh.
just the town side.
I think we have highway and town hall employees. I think we have 3 or 4, I'm not sure.
Bob, do you know?
Yeah, you have Parks and Recreation, Highway.
Yeah, right.
Town employees, emergency communications.
Police.
And police.
Okay. As a taxpayer, can they expect each one of those unions to get some contract increase this year?
That would be subject to negotiations, and
Do their current contracts call for an increase?
the ones that are not expired,
Sure.
yeah. Is that what you're referring to, or ones that are coming up for negotiation?
I'm wondering, the root of my question is, out of all the unions that we have, how many of them are getting an increase this year contractually? Is it all of the unions? Is it even those that have gotten extensions? Is everybody in the town that's under contract getting some type of contractual increase?
I cannot answer that question. I'll have to look that up for
You,
you.
Bob?
Next budget year, highways getting the 3.5%, Parks and Rec, which you're talking about 8 people, is getting 3%, and all other contracts need to be negotiated.
Okay. But they are slated for a contract negotiation and then a new period, correct?
Yeah.
So of the 5 or 6, there are, I can assume that 3 of them are up for renegotiation as we speak?
That's right, and in this budget before you, the only salary increases you see are the highway and Parks and Rec. Everybody else, the salaries are at the 0809.
So there is
Level.
no increase in those that we are in the process of renegotiating?
That's right.
Okay. Joe, have you approached the unions that are getting increases as to whether or not they would consider either opening their contracts or looking at a salary freeze or any type of negotiation commensurate with what other towns are doing and the economic climate?
Yeah, I've talked to the union people about it,
And what was the outcome?
well, they're willing to, they're all willing to open the contracts to negotiation, providing all the unions do it. In other words, if one union says no, then the whole game is over. So the Board of Ed, I guess their people have indicated that they would, the administrators were going to take a furlough, and,
Joe, I'm only going to ask you to speak to the Board of
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen side, because obviously, I'm sure that there are 7 individuals who would take great issue with you talking on behalf of the Board of Education.
oh, well, okay.
My question is, I understand your point, and obviously it's part and parcel, and there's one particular union in the town that is extremely large, which is a large expenditure for the town. My question to you is, what is the first selectman doing about approaching that issue?
Right now, I'm not doing anything, to be honest with you. I've been so wrapped up with this budget that I've been paying too much attention to that.
Okay. It would appear to me, though, Joe, that because overhead is such a big issue and these contractual increases, and an increase would be directly related to your budget requests, that would be an important issue. Yes?
Yep,
Is it your intent to,
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
can you provide any color as to your game plan or thought to the issue,
No,
as opposed to what you've said?
no.
Could I follow up on that with you, Joe? Do you know how much savings the town would have secured if all town employees had agreed to a 0 salary freeze or pay freeze?
How much we would save?
Yeah, how much
I
money that
wouldn't
would
know
be?
offhand, no. Do you have any
Could-
numbers on that, Bob?
If not, could you secure that for us?
I did have the number, it's calculated,
Oh.
and I hate to guess. It was around 200,000, but I will email you that. I'm not sure if I have it here, but it's been done.
Okay, and it's my understanding that all the town unions, and on the Board of Education side, the administrators union, all agreed to open their contracts and negotiate. The only union I'm familiar with is the teachers' union that has refused. Is my knowledge correct?
That's what the last I heard, that they refused. The administrators said that they would go along with the, 7 or 9 day furlough.
You're talking about the teachers, not the administrators.
I'm sorry?
The administrators.
No, the administrators did go say they went along with it.
6 days, I believe.
Yeah, well, the furlough is different from what we're talking about.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Opening a contract
Yeah.
for a pay freeze. And I'm just looking at a copy of the Newtown B, where the head of the union indicated
So the teacher said no?
that the teacher said no.
Oh, then that means nobody's gonna go then.
We have somebody from the Board of Ed in the audience with their hand up.
Joe, could I just jump back to what you just said?
I'm sorry?
That if they don't